The city was loud and bright, but the streets under it were cold and dark. In a small corner between two old buildings, a young alien girl named Leora sat on the ground. Her thin arms hugged her knees, and her eyes looked out at the busy humans walking past. No one saw her, no one stopped. To them, she was just another street child, just another alien in the dirt. Leora hadn't eaten in 2 days. Her stomach made soft, growling sounds. But she was used to it. She had learned how to stay quiet. How to stay hidden. Humans didn't like street aliens, and most would yell or kick her if she got too close. She kept her head down and watched their shoes, hoping someone might drop a piece of bread or fruit. That's when she saw it. A black object fell from the coat of a tall man walking fast. He didn't notice. He just kept moving, talking into a shiny device near his mouth. The black object hit the ground with a soft thud, landing right near her feet. It was a wallet. Leora blinked, then slowly reached for it. Her fingers touched smooth leather. Warm from the man's coat, it looked expensive. Nothing like the old bags she had seen before. She looked around, but no one else saw it. No one cared. Leora opened the wallet just a little. Inside, she saw colorful money-earth money. She thought there was also a small glowing chip and a card with a photo of the man. It said, Ambassador Reed, Earth Diplomatic Corps. Her heart skipped. A diplomat, that was someone very important. She had heard stories people like him could change laws, speak to worlds, maybe even start wars. And now, she was holding his wallet. Her alien friend, Sogo, came running from the alley nearby. He was short and had sharp teeth, but a kind smile. What did you find? He asked, looking over her shoulder. She showed him, and his eyes went wide. You're lucky. That's worth a lot. Sell it before someone sees. Leora shook her head. No, I want to give it back, she whispered. Sogo frowned. Why? Humans don't care about us. I care, she said. Standing up, she followed the path the man had taken. Moving fast through the crowd, people pushed her. Some shouted. But she kept going. She didn't see him anywhere. She looked at the photo again, memorizing his face. The ID card also had an address on it. She found the building, tall and shiny, like a tower from the stars. 2 human guards stood at the gate, wearing blue suits and dark glasses. She walked up, holding the wallet in both hands. I need to return this, she said softly. The guards looked down at her, then laughed. Street trash. Get lost, one of them said. She tried again. Please. This belongs to your ambassador. They pushed her back, and she fell on the ground. The wallet rolled from her hands and stopped near a pair of polished black shoes. A calm voice spoke. Is that mine? Leora looked up, her heart frozen. It was him, the man from the photo. Ambassador Reed, tall, with silver hair and sharp green eyes. He walked over and picked up the wallet. He opened it, looked inside, then looked at her. You didn't take anything? He asked, sounding curious. She shook her head quickly. No, sir. I found it on the ground. The guards looked confused. Then, embarrassed, Reed gave them a sharp glance and they stepped back. He reached down and helped her stand. What's your name? Leora, she said, voice shaking. Well, Leora, I believe you just saved me a lot of trouble. He turned and waved her to follow. She hesitated. Was this a trick? But something in his voice felt different. Not cruel. Not fake. She followed him through the gate. Into the building, people inside stared, whispering. Why was a rich diplomat walking with a dirty alien girl? Reed ignored them all. Inside his office, warm and clean. He sat across from her. He asked her again if she opened it. If she saw the chip, she nodded. Not wanting to lie, he smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. That chip is very important, he said, and very dangerous. Leora looked down, scared. Did I do something wrong? Reed leaned back, watching her. No, he said slowly, but now. Someone might come looking for you. Her hands shook a little. I'll leave. Go back to the alley. Reed shook his head. I don't think that's safe anymore. Leora stood. Ready to run, she didn't trust humans, not even nice ones, as she turned to go. The ambassador looked at his assistant and said quietly, follow her. And make sure she stays alive. Leora walked fast through the streets, her small hands stuffed deep into her pockets. The cold air brushed against her thin arms. But she didn't stop. She felt like people were watching her now. Not just passing by. Something had changed. And she could feel it. She had given back the wallet. Done the right thing, but why did she feel more scared than before? Behind her, in the shadows, a man in a long black coat watched her. He kept his distance, walking slowly, carefully. No one noticed him, but he never took his eyes off the girl. He pressed a small button near his ear and said, Target is moving alone. Leora turned a corner. Her heart beating fast. She didn't know why. But she could feel danger crawling up her back. She stopped near a trash bin and crouched, pretending to tie her worn-out shoes. From the corner of her eye, she saw boots, black and shiny. Walking past slowly, she held her breath, waiting, counting in her mind when the man was gone. She darted into a narrow alley, her feet quick and quiet. She didn't stop running until she reached an old junkyard. Metal scraps, broken bots, and old ship parts were scattered everywhere. This place was quiet, forgotten like her. She sat down behind a rusted metal plate, trying to calm her breathing back at the Earth's diplomatic center. Ambassador Reed stood at the large window of his office. He watched the busy city below, a frown on his face, his aide. A young man named Colt walked in, holding a tablet. We traced the signal, Colt said. The chip sent out a beacon before she returned it. Reed turned slowly. Anyone else pick it up? Colt nodded. Maybe. Reed closed his eyes. She has no idea what she found. Colt shifted nervously. Sir, the council will ask questions. This is serious. Reed opened his eyes. Sharp and cold now. I know, he said. But I won't let them hurt her. Leora was still hiding when she heard a soft voice. You shouldn't stay here. Little one, she looked up fast and saw an old alien woman with silver scales and glowing blue eyes. Her clothes were patched and old. But her face was calm and kind. Who are you? Leora asked, standing up slowly. Someone who listens. The woman replied. I heard your name in the wind. Leora didn't understand. But she didn't feel afraid. The woman offered her a piece of warm bread. And Leora took it with shaky hands. They're looking for you, the woman said softly. Humans. Dangerous ones. Leora looked around. Why? I gave the wallet back. The woman nodded. Yes. But what was inside? It was not just money. Meanwhile, Reed was in a secret room below the diplomatic building. The walls were lined with screens and blinking lights. He stood before a group of Earth Council members, their faces cold and full of suspicion. You lost a chip containing Phase 3 of Project Horizon, one man said sharply. Yes, Reed replied calmly, but it was returned. Untouched. How do you know it wasn't copied? Another asked. Reed stayed silent for a moment, then said, because the girl who found it is not like us. The council didn't like that answer. Reed, a woman said. We need to clean this up quietly. Reed stepped forward. If you touch her, I'll go public with everything. That was a threat and a dangerous one. The council members exchanged looks. Then gave a cold warning. You better control this. Or we will. Back in the junkyard, Leora thanked the old woman and got up to leave. But before she could step away, a cold hand grabbed her arm. She turned and saw a tall man with a mask and black armor. No more running, he said. Pulling her hard, Leora screamed and kicked. Trying to break free, more men appeared, wearing the same armor, suddenly. A loud buzzing sound echoed through the junkyard. A bright flash blinded the masked men, and a voice shouted, "Let her go." It was Red, standing on top of a broken bot, pointing a glowing weapon at them. He fired once, hitting one attacker in the chest, stunning him. The others backed away, surprised and angry. "Ambassador." One of them shouted, "She's just a child." Reed said, "Leave her out of this. She has the chip data," the leader replied. "She returned it," Reed growled. "She doesn't even know what it is." There was silence. Then the attackers left, melting back into the shadows. Reed ran to Leora, helping her stand. "Are you all right?" She nodded slowly, tears in her eyes. "Why are they chasing me?" Reed looked at her with something like guilt. "Because you touched something important," he said. "Something people would kill for." Leora stared at him, fear in her voice. "But I didn't steal it." "I know," Reed said. "That's why I'm going to protect you." She looked up at him, unsure. "Why?" "I'm just a street girl." Reed smiled. But it was a sad smile. "Not anymore," he said. The night fell over the city like a dark blanket, covering the metal towers and flashing signs in soft shadow. Leora sat on the edge of a rooftop, legs swinging, eyes staring at the stars above. They looked cold and far away, just like her old home. She didn't remember much about where she came from. Just a soft song her mother used to hum. That song was all she had left. Besides the fear that followed her everywhere, Ambassador Reed had brought her to a safe house, a place no one was supposed to know. But Leora didn't trust walls, and she didn't trust kindness. She slipped out during the night, needing space to think, needing air below. The city pulsed with noise and light. She had seen things in the last 2 days that made her head spin. Guards, guns, rich rooms with gold curtains, and men who talked with smiles but had eyes like knives. She didn't want to be part of this. She just wanted to go back to the junkyard, where at least she knew the rules, but deep down, she also knew there was no going back. From another rooftop, not far away, 2 shadows watched her. One was tall and thin, wearing a black hat and holding a small scanner. The other was shorter, face hidden behind silver goggles. "She's alone again," the tall one said, voice cold like metal. "Orders." Asked the second. "Follow, but do not touch." "Not yet," the first one said. "The bounty is higher if she's brought in alive." Leora heard something. A soft click, a whisper on the wind. She turned her head quickly, but saw nothing. Still, her skin tingled. She was being watched. She could feel it in her bones, down below. A strange sound came from the alley, like old metal grinding, curious and a little nervous. Leora climbed down using the fire ladder. She moved silently, feet trained by years of living in the shadows. She followed the sound and found an old robot, half broken, dragging itself through the alley. Its red eye blinked slowly, and a small voice came from it. "Help. Protocol error. Memory lost." She knelt beside it, touching the side of its head gently. "Who sent you?" she asked. The bot sparked once. Then a message played in the air like a ghost. A hologram of a familiar face, Ambassador Reed. He was speaking in a low voice, his words serious. "If you're seeing this, it means someone inside the council has betrayed us." Leora gasped softly. Eyes wide, Reed continued. "I need to find the leak. But I can't do it alone. They're watching me. Watching everyone." Then the image vanished, and the robot collapsed completely before she could react. Footsteps echoed from the far end of the alley. Voices fast and sharp. "She's here. Block the exit." Leora ran, heart pounding, dodging between trash piles and broken crates. She reached the other end of the alley, but it was blocked. 2 men stood there, both wearing black armor and glowing red visors. She turned to go back, but more were behind her now. She was trapped. One of the men stepped forward. Holding a small tablet, "You are in possession of classified data," he said. Voice flat, "I don't have anything." She cried. The man ignored her. "Come quietly, or we take you by force." Suddenly, a sharp whistle cut through the air. A can rolled between them, then exploded in a cloud of green smoke. Leora coughed, eyes burning. Hands grabbed her and pulled her sideways into a crack in the wall. She didn't even see it there. Inside, the space was dark and tight. Full of old wires and steam, a voice whispered, "Stay low." Leora squinted and saw the old alien woman again, the one from the junkyard. How did you find me?" she asked. "I never lost you." "Child," the woman said softly, "the stars speak. And shadows listen together." They crawled through the hidden tunnel until they reached an underground room. Small lights glowed along the walls. And a few other aliens sat there, watching silently. "They call us the listeners," the woman said. "We see what others ignore. We hear what they bury." Leora sat down, shaking. "They want to kill me," she whispered. "Because of a chip I didn't even understand." The woman nodded. "That chip holds plans for a weapon. One that could destroy entire moons." Leora's heart dropped. "I returned it," she said. "I didn't copy anything. They don't care," the woman said. "You touched it, and now you are part of the story." Meanwhile, Ambassador Reed stood before a dark screen in his private office. A masked figure appeared on the other side. Hidden in static, "Why did you protect her?" the figure asked. "She's innocent," Reed said. "And she's smarter than most of your agents." "She's a threat," the voice replied. "She's a child," Reed said. "And maybe the only one I can trust now." The door to Reed's private chamber sealed shut with a soft hiss. Inside, blue lights blinked across the walls, and a glass table lit up with lines of encrypted files. Ambassador Reed moved slowly, tired but alert. He hadn't slept much in days. The council was watching him. His enemies were whispering. And a child from the streets now held the key to the most dangerous secret in the galaxy. He looked at the glowing screen where Leora's face appeared. Captured from city surveillance, her eyes were scared, but full of something else to fire. "She doesn't even know what she stepped into," he murmured. He reached into a locked drawer and pulled out a hidden file marked Horizon Phase 3. It was the same file the chip in the wallet had connected to. If it leaked, if the wrong people got at war, would be the only outcome. Reed tapped a code and sent a message to Colt. His aide, "Prepare the hidden room and get a fast transport ready." "I'm going to find her myself." Colt's reply came back fast. "Sir, that's not safe," Reed replied. "Neither is trusting the wrong people again." Meanwhile, underground, Leora sat with the listeners, her mind spinning. The old woman, who called herself Mira, poured her warm tea that smelled like spices and metal. Leora held the cup but didn't drink. "I don't understand," she said softly. "Why are they so afraid of me?" Myra gave a sad smile. "Because truth is more dangerous than any weapon." "Child," another listener handed Leora a tablet, showing her a file copied from the broken bot. She scrolled through it slowly, her eyes wide. It wasn't just about a weapon, it was about a plan. Project Horizon wasn't for defense, it was for control. It would allow Earth to block entire star systems from communicating, silence entire planets without firing a shot. Leora looked up, her voice shaking. "They were going to use this on my people." Mira nodded slowly. "Not just yours, many worlds," she said. Any world that refused to bow. Leora felt sick. She had thought humans were powerful, maybe even kind. But now she saw the truth. Some of them wanted to rule everything, even if it meant hurting millions. Suddenly, a knock echoed from the far entrance of the tunnel. Everyone froze, hands on weapons, but it wasn't a soldier, it was Reed. Alone, arms raised, no guards. "I came to talk," he said. Not to take? Leora stepped forward, unsure. You said you wanted to help. But you knew what Project Horizon was. I did, Reed said calmly. But I didn't make it. I've been trying to stop it. Myra narrowed her eyes. Why should we believe you? Reed reached into his coat slowly and placed a small orb on the floor. It opened and played a hologram recording from a council meeting. Voices could be heard, cold and proud. The chip has been restored. But if we find out she copied it, terminate her. No trial. Another voice laughed. One alien child. No one will care. Leora covered her mouth. Eyes wide with shock, Myra's face turned to stone. You risked everything to bring this, she said to Reed. Reed nodded. Because she deserves the truth, he turned to Leora. Kneeling so he could look her in the eyes, you have something rare, Leora. You chose honesty when you could have chosen greed. You're brave. And you saw what people like me tried to hide? I need your help not just to stop the weapon, but to show others what's really happening. Leora's voice trembled. You want me to spy on the council? No, Reed said. I want you to speak. They want you silent. Forgotten, but if you speak out, if people see your face, hear your story, they will listen. She stared at him, heart racing. I'm just a street girl, she whispered. You're more than that now, he said. You're a witness. Myra looked at Leora and then at Reed. If she does this, she'll have a target on her back forever. Reed nodded. Then I'll protect her for as long as I live. The room was quiet, the weight of the moment sinking into everyone's bones. Then Leora stood tall, her eyes steady. I'll do it, she said. But only if you promise one thing. Reed tilted his head. What's that? Help the others tooth the children still in the alleys. The ones no one sees. He smiled. A real smile this time. You have my word. The sun was rising over the metal towers of the city, painting the buildings gold and red. Leora stood by the tall windows inside Ambassador Reed's private residence. Staring out in silence, she had never seen a view like this before. From here, she could see everything: the parks, the shuttles flying between towers, and the busy humans walking to work. It looked peaceful, beautiful even, but she knew peace was just a layer on top of something darker. Behind her, soft footsteps echoed, and a gentle voice spoke. Hungry. Leora turned to see a girl about her age, maybe a little older, carrying a tray of food. She had light brown skin, short curly hair, and a warm smile. I'm Tara, she said. My dad told me about you. Leora stepped back, unsure. She didn't know how to act around people like this, people who lived in clean houses, wore soft clothes, and smiled without fear. Tara placed the tray on the table and sat down. I used to be scared of aliens, she said honestly. But you don't look scary. Leora sat slowly. Still quiet, she looked at the platereal bread. Eggs, warm fruit juice, it smelled like heaven. She took small bites at first, afraid it would be taken away. Tara didn't say anything, just watched her, kind and patient. Later that day, Reed returned from the council building. His face tired, he nodded at Leora. You're safe here. For now, he sat with her and opened a screen, showing news feeds from across the system. This is how they control stories, he said. The council decides what people see tomorrow. They'll talk about a thief, an alien girl, and a danger to Earth. Leora frowned. That's me, isn't it? Reed nodded. Unless we change the story first. That evening, Leora walked through the halls of the ambassador's house. Curious, it was too clean, too quiet. She found a small library full of old books and screens. On one of the screens, a file was still open. It had her name on it. She tapped it, and what she saw made her stomach twist. Photos of her, dates, places she had been. Details about her parents, her planet, her health. Even recordings of when she was a child begging for food. They had been watching her long before the wallet. Another folder opened slum monitoring program. There were reports of sick children, dirty camps, and government orders to ignore the area. Reed had seen it all and done nothing. Her hands shook. She heard footsteps and quickly closed the file, but it was too late. Reed had walked in. His face didn't change, but his eyes showed pain. "You saw it," he said softly. Leora turned away, angry. "You knew about the dying kids, the camps?" "All of it." Reed stepped forward. "I knew," he said. "And I hated it. But I was just a voice in a room full of monsters. I tried to work from the inside." Slowly, Leora faced him, her voice sharp. "You let them suffer while you waited." Reed didn't speak for a moment. Then he said, "You're right. No excuse I give will make it better. But maybe, with your help, I can make it matter." Leora looked at him, unsure what to feel. He had saved her life. Yes, but he had also ignored the lives of so many others. "Why should I trust you now?" She asked. "Because I'm trusting you," Reed replied. "I gave you the truth. Even when it hurt, I could have erased those files. But I didn't, that night." Leora sat in the guest room, staring at the ceiling. Tara came in and lay beside her. "My mom died when I was little," Tara whispered. "I used to hate aliens because of the war. But now I see you. And you're just like me." Leora blinked, surprised by the honesty. She didn't know what to say, so she just whispered, "Thanks for the food," outside, in the shadows of a nearby building. A dark figure raised a camera lens and zoomed in on the ambassador's window. A red light blinked as it recorded inside a hidden chamber. A voice spoke through a communicator. "She's inside the house." "Trust growing," another voice replied. "Good. Let them believe they're safe, back inside." Reed poured himself a drink and looked out at the city lights. He felt the pressure growing, the walls closing in. One wrong step, and everything would collapse: his career, the girl's safety, and maybe even peace between worlds. He knew he had made mistakes, but now, for the first time in years, he had a chance to do something right, even if it cost him everything. Leora stood alone on the balcony of Reed's house, her hands gripping the cold metal railing. The city lights below flickered like tiny stars. But her heart was heavy, full of anger, fear, and questions. She had seen too much: the secret weapon, the lies from the council, the quiet suffering of her people in the slums, and the cold truth in Reed's files. She had trusted him for a moment, but the truth had burned that trust into ash. A small noise behind her made her turn quickly. Tara stood in the doorway, holding a folded blanket. "You're not sleeping," Tara said gently. Leora shook her head. "Too many voices in my mind." Tara walked over and sat beside her. "My dad's trying to change things," she said. "He's not perfect. But he's not one of them." Leora stayed quiet, not sure what she believed anymore. Later that night, while the house slept, Leora crept into the study. She had memorized the passcode earlier. She opened the terminal and copied the files the council meeting. The plans for Project Horizon, the proof that humans were planning to silence whole planets. She put the data into a small cube and hid it under her jacket. Then she slipped out into the darkness. She ran through the streets, silent and fast, until she reached the place she had once feared: the newsbots. Machines that roamed the city, hungry for stories. She found one near a trash pile, its red light blinking as it scanned the air. She placed the cube into its slot and whispered, "Play it everywhere." The bot's light flashed green. Accepting the file, within seconds, the truth began to spread across screens, billboards, and news feeds. The next morning, chaos exploded across the city. People gathered in the streets, shouting, holding signs, demanding answers. Alien workers left their jobs and joined human protesters. No more silence. One sign read, "End Project Horizon." Read another, The council tried to shut down the feeds, but it was too late. The truth had already spread across planets. Inside the ambassador's house, Reed watched the screen with wide eyes. His voice was low. "She did it, Colt." His aide rushed in, pale and sweating. "Sir, the council is furious. They're blaming you. They say you trained her to leak it." Reed stood slowly. "Let them talk, but they've issued a bounty on her," Colt whispered. Dead or alive, Reed's heart sank. He picked up his cum and tried to call her. But there was no signal. "She's gone," he said quietly. "And now she's in more danger than ever." Leora didn't know where to go. Every screen showed her face, calling her a traitor, a terrorist. A danger to Earth's security. She ran from building to building. Hiding in shadows, avoiding scanners, she thought she had done the right thing. But now she saw fear in everyone's eyes, even in some of the aliens. They were scared of what the truth might cost them. She reached the underground tunnels again, hoping to find Myra and the listeners, but the tunnels were empty. Only a small note was left behind, too hot to stay. "Trust yourself." Her hands shook. Her breath came fast. She had nothing now, no home, no friends, and maybe no future. Then, from the darkness, a voice spoke. "You still have a choice," it was read, stepping forward alone. He looked tired, his coat dirty, eyes full of worry. "You should hate me," he said softly. "I don't know what to feel," Leora answered, her voice cracking. "I thought telling the truth would help people, but now?" "Everything's worse," Reed nodded. "The truth is heavy, and sometimes it breaks things before it fixes them. But your voice made people open their eyes. You made them feel something." Leora stared at him. "Then why are they calling me a criminal?" "Because the council is scared," he said, "and when powerful people are scared, they get dangerous." He reached into his coat and handed her a device. "It's a broadcast key," he said. "It will link you to every public feed on this planet and 5 others. You can speak again." She hesitated. "What would I even say?" Reed looked at her, serious and calm. "Say the truth again, but this time, say it not with anger. Say it with hope." She looked down at the device, then slowly took it. Her hands were still shaking, but her voice was steady. "I want to speak live," she said. "Then we'll do it tonight," Reed replied. "Before the council silences everything, far above them." In the tallest building, the council gathered, their faces cold and full of fear. "She must be stopped before she speaks again," one growled. "Then prepare the sniper," another whispered. "If she opens her mouth, we end this." The sky above the city was dark and heavy, clouds rolling in like silent waves. A cold wind passed through the metal towers, sweeping dust across the streets where people gathered in silence. Large screens lit up across every block, every station, every public wall. Crowds of humans and aliens stood side by side, eyes wide, waiting, watching, wondering. They had heard whispers all day of a girl, of a truth, of a voice that would speak one more time. Inside the main broadcasting tower, Leora stood in front of a glowing camera. Her hands trembled slightly as she looked at the blinking red light. Behind her stood Reed, his face pale but steady. Guards had tried to block their way, but the people outside had cleared the path. They wanted to hear her, not the council, not the newsbots, but her, the girl who told the truth. "You can still back out," Reed whispered. Leora shook her head, her voice calm. "I have to finish what I started, far away." On a rooftop across from the broadcast tower, a man in black armor knelt behind a long-range rifle. A red light blinked on his scope, locked onto Leora's chest. "Target locked," he said into his cum. The council's voice came through cold and sharp. "If she speaks for more than 1 minute, take the shot." The countdown began. A voice in the tower said, "You're live in 5, 4, 3. Leora took a deep breath, her heart pounding. The red light blinked brighter, and the camera came alive. "Hello," she said, her voice soft but clear. "My name is Leora. I am not from Earth. I am not rich. I am not powerful, but I am like why feel hunger. I feel fear, and I dream of something better on the rooftops, in the streets, in distant ships and underground stations." People leaned closer. Leora continued, her words growing stronger. "I didn't want to be a hero. I just wanted to return a lost wallet. But inside it was a secret one that could have silenced entire planets, and I was told to stay quiet. To run, to hide, but I won't," she said, lifting her chin, "because if we stay quiet when people suffer, then we become part of the silence in the sniper's scope." Her heart lined up with the crosshairs. 60 seconds. A voice said in his earpiece, "Prepare to fire." Reed stood behind her, his eyes scanning the tower windows. He saw a flash of red light on the glass, then his instincts kicked in. He shouted, "Down," and leaped forward, pushing Leora to the ground. A gunshot cracked through the air, sharp and loud. The glass behind them shattered, sparks flying. People screamed as the screen flickered, then came back. Leora sat up, gasping. Reed lay beside her, blood spreading across his chest. "No," she cried, her hands pressing against his wound. Reed smiled weakly. "You need to finish? No more running," he whispered. Tears filled her eyes, but she stood again, facing the camera. "Someone just tried to kill me," she said, her voice shaking but strong. "Because I told you the truth, and if that doesn't prove I'm right, then what does?" "I am not a danger," she said. "But silence is. If we stay quiet, they win. So today, I ask you not to fight, not to run, but to speak. Speak for your children, your friends, your neighbors, human or alien. Speak until they can't silence us anymore." The feed ended. But the silence that followed was not fear, it was power. Then came the first cheer, then another and another, until the streets roared with voices chanting her name, Leora, Leora, Leora. Around the city, soldiers lowered their weapons. Protesters held up signs of peace. Aliens and humans hugged each other, cried together, stood together. The council tried to respond, but they were too late. Their words were drowned in the voice of the people. The sniper vanished into the shadows. His mission failed. Reed survived, though barely. He stepped down from his role, his final act being a full confession to the public. His last message was simple: believe in her. Not me. Weeks passed, then months. The council was replaced by a new, shared government of humans and aliens, and at the center of the change stood Leora, not a soldier, not a spy, not a queen jest, a girl who chose truth over fear. She started a program to rescue street children, both alien and human. She gave them food, education, safety, and more than anything, she gave them hope. People across planets would tell her story for years to come, but those who were there knew the truth. It all started not with a speech or a battle, but with a simple act of kindness when a poor alien girl returned a wallet she could have kept and changed the galaxy forever.